Hey everyone, and welcome to Read This Now, the weekly webcast where Brad Gustafson and I share two books that we love and we think you should read. When, Brad?
Right now, literally right now.
Yes.
That's how good these books are.
There's a lot of urgency. We want you to do it now, folks.
I mean, we think they're pretty good. So
we do. So what you been reading this week, my friend?
Yeah, I got a cool one for any educator into design thinking and helping kids, with inventing and maybe maker spaces or things like that. So a quick side story that's very much related. A year or two ago, I contacted people across the country, and Jenn was one of them, and said, hey, can you send me a video of a literacy problem you have? Because we're going to have our students here at Greenwood invent solutions. Basically, it was like a little inventors fair, but with a reading theme. And it was really cool. And thanks for helping us out with that. So as part of that, like the part of the project that you weren't aware of, we were working with kids on the design thinking process so that when they received your challenge, that they had kind of some schema and scaffolding to try to approach it with the lens of, I guess, empathy and things like that. So we kind of punted on that side of it last year, or whenever we did that. John Spencer and AJ Giuliani have a really cool design thinking resource that I use. So it wasn't total punting, but since then I came across a design thinking book for classroom use.
Cool.
So I thought I'm going to share it because there probably are other educators out me doing projects with kiddos, just looking for books that would supplement and excite and scaffold. So that's the whole point of my share today. It's a resource I wish I would have had a year or two ago, but I have it now. So it is called Zom-Be. I messed up my intro. Zom-Be, a design thinker. And I kind of thought you might like the title because you do some really cool presentations with that theme. But the premise of the book is it definitely unpacks the design thinking process and gets into things like prototyping and empathy and provides a process. But basically, as kids throughout the book are kind of learning and building, they're helping the zombie not be a zombie anymore and turn kind of less green. So it has some elements that are kind of zany and fun that I think kids would also be motivated by, in addition to the great content on design thinking. I think this book would be great for older readers independently or on their own, but at the elementary level, personally, how I would probably use it would be a read aloud and discussion starter with kiddos. Like there aren't many kindergartners who could access a lot of the vocab in this book is kind of my point at this, but still very, very good. So for all of those reasons, I think right now, as we said earlier, you should read Zom-Be, a design thinker by Amanda Fox, illustrated by Stella.
Cool. That cover looks so awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
How fun. That's fun. I love that. I love that. It looks like it's a picture book. Is that correct? Or
it is a picture book, but it had, like I said, the vocab is more advanced. It's not like your typical picture book, or at least the picture books I usually read. There's some like they don't hold back. There's design thinking concepts in here, but I think they're really packaged in a student-friendly way. They just might need an adult to kind of navigate some of the text.
I love that. That's awesome. And I just love when we come across those kinds of books that I can also thinking, since my students now are adults, and so I'm always looking for resources like that would also just serve as a good instructional tool for adult learners who just want to get to know a little bit more about what is design thinking. I've heard people talking about this. This could give you just a really easy introduction into it,
Bingo, you nailed it. And it struck me as kind of a hidden gem of a book because it is a little more specialized, but for anyone like into this, which it's a lot of people and teaching kids how to do it, it's like, wow, that is awesome. So that's another reason I shared. But just to give you a quick idea, so here's one page and it kind of has the design aesthetic, but it's the problems you'll solve are rarely your own. Interviewing others activates the empathy zone. So again, some of those words, a first grader or a kindergartner, they don't always say, I'm going to activate my, empathy zone and things like that, but it's teaching the concepts of design thinking. So good stuff. I bet you would love this too, by the way, Jenn.
I love it. We often joke that our friendship costs one another money. You know, like every time we chat, I end up adding more books to my list to buy and vice versa. And maybe that's kind of the connection between our book talks this week, because I was thinking of starting my book talk with an apology to Deb, because I felt like this book, I was thinking of you as I was reading it and how it would be one that you would really like. And I definitely am going to add Zom-Be, a design thinker, to my list as well. So maybe it cancels each other out if we're both buying books that week. But I want to start my book talk. My book is very different from yours. But like I said, I was thinking of you much of the time because I was just thinking, this is a book that has Brad written on it. He would really enjoy this. And I'm going to start by reading the blurb that's on the back, which is kind of an unusual thing, but yet it's also the way that readers sometimes select books. We turn it over and see what we can learn from the back of the book, right? Absolutely. And so I want you to listen to this. If this doesn't get you interested in reading this book, I don't know what will, okay? There were thousands of people watching my best friend, hundreds of cameras snapping and shooting his every move. But when the show's over, we all look away. So nobody saw it happen. Nobody knows how or why or even exactly when he disappeared. And this book, called Fadeaway by Evie Vickers, is the title. First of all, it's kind of a double entendre because you already can tell from the back cover that it's a mystery about this kid's disappearance, this fade away. But it also refers to the basketball shot of Fadeaway, which is the signature move of the kid who has disappeared in the book, named Jake. He is his high school basketball team's star, and his signature move is the Fadeaway. The night in question is the state championship game, in which there's all sorts of, the whole town is gathered. There's reporters, and Jake is there doing his signature move to win the school their first state championship in decades. But then the next morning, when Jake's mom gets up to go to his bedroom to wake him up, he's not there. He hasn't come home that night. She knew that he was going to go to a celebration after the party, but in digging in, we find he never made it there either. The whole book is told in alternating perspectives. His best friend, his ex-girlfriend, his mom, his little brother, his coach, his arch nemesis at school, the police officers who are looking for them, where they're all telling what happened through a series of interviews and conversations. And what we realize at the very beginning is that they're all holding something back.
Wow.
They all know something more than what they're telling each other and what they're telling the police. And so for the reader, everybody's a suspect. And let me add one last layer to this. One of the alternating perspectives is Jake, the kid who is missing. And all we can tell as a reader is that something has happened to him. He can't see where he is. His memory's been affected. He's not sure what's going on. So he is a completely unreliable source of information. Other than just giving these little snippets of what might be happening. And so this whole book, one of the things it said about the book all over the jacket is that it's like a nail biter, page turner, and you can't stop reading it. That's exactly the case. So when you pick this up, just be prepared to devote the rest of your day to reading it, because you will not be able to put it down. It's called Fadeaway by Evie Vickers, and you should read it right now.
You just put us on a roller coaster, Jen, and that I don't want to stop. I don't even like roller coasters, but now I suddenly do, because that was awesome. For a second, I thought it was my patented fadeaway, you know, the pencil fadeaway, but evidently you really got me pigeonholed, or whatever it's called, because awesome. Gosh, I want to read that book.
I thought about you because of the cliffhanger elements of it. Now, what I will say is that I think this book firmly fits into the middle school YA category. Meaning I probably have known some sixth graders who could tackle this book on their own without a lot of support. But for kids much younger than that, I think I would want an adult to be part of that reading process to have some conversations about the topics. But seventh grade and above, I think they would be all over this book and it just wouldn't be able to stop reading it.
This would be one of those shows I could go for like 2 hours just to sit and make you talk about that book, because that's how awesome it sounds. So thank you.
Well, it sounds like we both had awesome books this week. And again, my apologies to Deb. And I will express your apologies
we're used to it, Jen.
Exactly.
Thank you for always sharing such great books. Every time you say that, like you nail it too. So I can't wait.
Yay! Well, for all of our 3.5 viewers, if they would like to check out the rest of the great books that we've recommended over the years, where can they go?
bit.ly/read_this_now. Good stuff.
Yay!
Soon to be even gooder.
I love it. Thanks, everyone. Happy reading.